Welcome back learners to the second video of the 12th module on the emergence of school counseling and historical perspective of role and function of school counselors. In this video, we will discuss some of the aspects related to the emergence of the role and function of school counselor in the transitional stage and contemporary stage. The learning objectives of this video is to analyze the process of defining the role and functions of school counselors and to comprehend the emergence of school counseling as a discipline. In the transitional stage, during the period of 1940s, Carl Rogers made a great impact in the field of counseling with his views and approaches to counseling. His concepts brought about the transition from guidance or educational guidance to counseling. His concepts manifested in his two main works, that is Counseling and Psychotherapy in 1942 and Client-Centered Therapy in 1951, or we call it as Person-Centered Therapy as well, which is the humanistic approach of counseling, which intended that the control over the counseling process should remain with client and the counselor should decrease the advice giving, instead only assist the client to get an insight into his or her problems and solve them. The role and function of the school counselor had a remarkable effect because of the counseling and psychotherapy work by Carl Rogers. The overall role and function of school counselors was given a theoretical framework for personal counseling through the person-centered approach of Carl Rogers. The approach led the school counselors to apply clinical emphasis in their overall role and function. Not only that, even today, Carl Rogers' work continued its impact on the role and functions of school counselors because they put in a lot of effort to help students to solve or to adjust or to regulate their range of personal problems, which is cumulative. With the opening of the Public Law 85 to 864, the National Defence Act in 1950s, the support for school counselors actually amplified or increased, as this act allocated funds for college and universities to train students to become secondary school counselors. During the 1950s, support for school counselors increased. In 1953, the American School Counseling Association was founded with added more credentials, standards and guidelines to school counselors. The school counseling program was further strengthened by funding, training and resources with the passage of Public Law 85 to 864, the National Defence Education Act, which we call as NDEA, in 1958. This act allocated funds for colleges and universities to train students to become secondary school counselors. During 1960s, emphasis was given for the developmental aspects of children, where the need for helping children systematically in a more collective approach with a strategic arrangement was realized and developed. With this, the attention was focused on adjustment to developmental guidance from guidance alone. This paved a way for the derivation of developmental perspective, because the developmental guidance on which the focus was shifted emphasized the significance of understanding and working with students in a developmental perspective. In 1966, Tigmeyer and Myrick constructed a more brief and crisp structure of developmentally based school counseling, which removed various unorganized services given by several other persons in guidance and counseling. This shift of focus of counseling and guidance on developmentally based school counseling promoted prevention than to cure, meaning it gave higher importance in preventing the problems from occurring than to just help students to adjust to their problems. This led the school counselors and school personnel to work together and still continue to use and apply the developmental perspective in examining the students and provide counseling services for them. During the contemporary stage, comprehensive developmental model was familiarized. During the 1970s, an extension of the developmental perspective was initiated to include K-12, that is kindergarten to 12th standard or grade level comprehensive developmental model. At this time, there was also a proposal to incorporate career education to the overall school program. But the integration of career education into public schools did not see much of success, as there was a conflict with regard to taking in career education with some teachers and administrators who did not agree to integrate career education into the school program, as they assumed that including career education would not give sufficient amount of time for the required academic activities and actions. In this period, the school counseling program required structured evaluation as it became more responsible and answerable. The role of the school counselor was much affected when the Public Law 94 to 142 was passed, the Education for All Handicapped Children Act in 1975. With this, it led to more duties, roles and functions for school counselors. School counselors had to take up the responsibility of developing IEP, that is Individual Education Program, taking care of SST, that is Student Study Teams, and mentoring teachers of special education. This act showed the need of services for children with disabilities. As a result, the role and functions of school counselor was extended towards including challenged children or exceptional children with regard to coordinating, testing and placement. The role also was expanded to assist in development and implementation of individual education program for each student as well. During the same period, yet another power influenced the role and function of school counselors. It was the use of computers to score test scores, schedule and career counseling. Apart from this, in the early 1970s, school counselors started to integrate group counseling in the counseling and guidance programs. In the decade of 1980s, career guidance was nationally supported. In the year 1984, the Carl D. Perkins Vocational Education Act was passed. Since it was believed that public schools were not adequately preparing students for employment or to pursue education after school, that is post-secondary education. Funds from the Perkins Bill was used by various states to develop counseling and guidance from K-12. One of the important prerequisites for the states to avail these funds was to provide prospects or opportunities for the students to gain employability skills. Yet another mighty influence in 1980s was the awareness about the multicultural issues in counseling and its significance. Thus, school counselors started to perform and alter their counseling approaches to include and adapt to multicultural perspective. During 1980s, school-age children were intensely affected due to the changes in the society materialistically. It was known as the time of change. In this period, school counselors observed a significant rise in the number of divorces, suicides, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, teenage pregnancy and eating disorders. It was also witnessed that the school counselors devoted their large amount of energy, time and labor to address these intricate problems and concerns by employing prevention and treatment, intervention and rehabilitation programs. Programs like drug prevention and awareness, counseling, both group and individual counseling for children of alcoholics, divorced parents were undertaken. Family counseling and parent education programs were also conducted. At this time, education system and the schools began to inspect and analyze the effectiveness of school counseling, which resulted in emphasizing the accountability of the school counselor for student well-being and development at school. During 1990s, as the decade proceeded, school counselors started to try and make an attempt to meet the needs of the culturally different and divergent student population, and as well as students with different level of school readiness and psychological stability and mental health. Finally, in 1997, in an effort as a requirement to view students from a holistic perspective, combining the academic, personal and social development of students, a national standards to advocate for comprehensive school counseling was developed by American School Counseling Association. The national model, a framework for school counseling program of ASCA, was developed completely in 2003. This framework offers school counselors with guidelines to become an effective and efficient school counselor. In this video, we have discussed some of the aspects of the emergence of role and function of school counselor in the transitional and the contemporary stages. In the next video, we shall discuss about school counseling in today's world and the challenges of school counselors. Thank you.